Hello, 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 world of YouTube, and welcome to 15 Rounds of Flambé. My energy is going to be very low today because I feel like crap. Yeah, we're doing the show early. I called out of work. I'm not feeling too well, but Matt is gonna bring all the energy we need today, guys.
Yeah, I was about to say, even though you said you feel like crap, that's actually like the best opening I think you've
Oh, shut
had.
up.
With our first story, we looked at USA basketball. Beating China in back-to-back games by 49 and 50, the US has shown early promise going into the Olympics. And what are your thoughts about the team so far?
It's funny because I got into a debate on Snapchat with my old roommate Bobby Martinez yesterday, and we were talking about this team, and I think that with the dominance that they've shown, I said they destroyed Argentina before they beat China. That it just shows, I think, the gap between USA basketball and the rest of the world is it's shrinking, but it's not as close as people were making it seem a couple, maybe 8 years ago. Because this is essentially, in my opinion, like the NBA's B or C team. They don't, outside of Boogie Cousins, Paul George, and Kevin Durant. I think those are really the only superstars, quote unquote superstars, that they have on this team. So I think that has a lot to do with the fact that the rift between USA and the rest of the world is it's shrinking, but it's not as close as people make it out to seem.
Yeah, that's kind of a funny comment because, like, going back to Argentina, they played Argentina last Friday, and it was 111 to 74. And when you when you met the gap between the USA and the world, it seems like maybe because we weren't sending our best players like Kobe Bryant in say 2004 and 2008, but maybe it seemed like the world was more competitive because Argentina won in 2004.
Yeah, I remember Argentina. Argentina is the only other team, or only other country in the world to win in Olympic gold since they started allowing professional players in the Olympics. So that's the '92 Dream Team. So USA won in '92. They won in '96 with Dream Team 2. They won in 2000 with Vince Carter. We will all remember what Vince Carter did for our country in 2004.
National hero.
Yeah, exactly. National hero. 2004 was the year that the USA got the bronze, and then the last two Olympics they've been just systematically destroying everyone. The only real competition I think they've had has been Spain. But with one of the Gasol, I think Paul Gasol is not playing for Spain this year, and I don't know if Serge Ibaka is playing for Spain this year, but. I expect the USA to kind of just rampage through. I really do. I feel like they're going to rampage through the entire rest of the world because when you look at it, and I'm not taking anything away from guys like Kyrie Irving and guys like Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, DeAndre Jordan, but they're all stars in their own right. They're maybe top 20, top 25 players in the NBA in their own right, but they're not. They're not LeBron James. They're not Steph Curry. They're not Chris Paul. They're not these James Harden. They're not these guys that when we think of superstars, Anthony Davis. When we think of superstars, these guys aren't on the team, and the USA is still blowing the crap out of the rest of the world. So.
Yeah, like I think so. I mean, Melo, I've criticized Melo in the past before, but Melo always shows up in the Olympics. Maybe I don't know why. Maybe because like the stretched out and just playing with better teammates. But Melo always shows up. He had 20 yesterday. Cousins had 21 and 11, and Durant had 13. And did you see DeMar DeRozan's almost 360?
Yeah,
Dunk?
I'm not gonna lie. If he and I saw LeBron's tweet, if he would have made that, it would have been like, we'll never forget what DeMar DeRozan did for our country.
And it's crazy. I remember I saw LeBron's tweet too, and like I watched it like the first time, and like yeah, I mean if he had it, that would have been nice and everything. But like really thinking about it, you only see 360 dunks on fast breaks with no one else in the end.
Yeah.
If the wasn't dunked that over someone in the middle of a play, that would have been spectacular.
I love how the USA bench got a technical foul because the guys like went crazy and started jumping on the. They like literally DeAndre Jordan literally like leaped out of his chair and they jumped on the court and they got a technical foul. But yeah, no, that was and it wasn't the fact that the guy from China blocked him or I think he just missed the body when the body's banged. He kind of lost control. But oh yeah, no, if that dunk would have been made, it would have been absolutely insane. But the point being that Carmelo Anthony is, although he does always show up, I think it's because he's more relaxed. Although he always does show up in the Olympics, he's not a top 10 player in the NBA anymore. like I said, I think the gap is shrinking, but it's not as close as people make it out to be. So I do expect Olympic gold, however. So go Team USA. I'm gonna watch them systematically kick the crap out of everyone. So I can't wait. I think there's gonna be a lot more.
Always what I really look forward to, like the Olympics. I mean, I always watch the running and the swimming and gymnastics, but basketball, because like I love basketball the most among the sports. So I'm always interested in basketball.
And it's always fun to just. I said it's sometimes it's literally like a bunch of teenagers in high school playing against like kindergartners, and
I was gonna say it's like an NBA All-Star game sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it is. It's like an NBA All-Star game, and you can tell like these guys are like they're serious, but they're at the same time just like, all right, let's see.
They're always having fun. They're always joking.
It's like who can have the biggest highlight. Like it really is who can have the biggest highlight. So it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah.
We're on our second story today. We're going to talk a little bit about ESPN's top 100 list. They made a top 100 list of the greatest baseball players of all time. They broke it down by position, and their top 10 was a little, Babe Ruth was number 1. They had a lot of different. Stan Musial, I believe, was top 10. Was number 10. So they had some players that we know of, some players that people may have not seen. So Matthew, talk to me a little bit about the list, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, looking at the list now, it's like all the players we have not seen, except for maybe one. Number 1's Babe. Number 2 is Willie Mays. 3 is Hank Aaron. 4 is Ted Williams. 5 is the most modern player, being Barry Bonds. 6 is Mickey Mantle. 7 is Lou Gehrig. 8 is Ty Cobb. 9 is Walter Johnson. And 10 is Stan Musial. I'm always a fan of history. I'm always a fan of sports. So I always like discussing sports history in any sport, any baseball, basketball, football. And I think they got a pretty solid list, even though there's so many. Baseball is so difficult just trying to judge players because there's different eras and different rules. But I think they got a pretty solid list, I think.
That's the only thing, if I could change about the list, because I think it is pretty solid too, is I think that players that played during the dead ball era shouldn't be as high just because they weren't always playing against the best competition. They were playing against the best competition that was offered. But when you look at, black players weren't allowed to play, Latino players weren't allowed to play. I feel like they didn't play against the top flight competition. So I'm with Christy Mathewson or something like that, or somebody that played. Walter Johnson played during the early 1900s. I'm just like, But other than that, I think it was a pretty solid list. I like Barry Bonds being that high because, like I said, steroids or not, I'm gonna always be a Barry Bonds fan. Barry Bonds he just made baseball fun. He did. The one thing I always think about when I think of Barry Bonds and how great he was, like I said, steroids or not. When was the last time you saw somebody in San Francisco hit the ball into McCovey Cove? Like, when's the last time you saw that happen? Maybe like 2-3 years ago.
It's been a while.
It's been a really long time. Bonds used to do it like last week.
No, like talking about Barry Bonds. That's what I always found funny. Whenever I look at the stats now of Barry Bonds,
they were so ridiculous.
Like PEDs and that entire cloud circling him. You see like a slugger like Alex Rodriguez, who I believe right now is not on PEDs, batting near 200 with 8-9 home runs at the age of 39, 40.
A-Rod sucks.
And I see Barry Bonds like at the age of 37, the age of 38, when you're supposed to be batting 220. If you hit 30 home runs, that's a mild surprise. And he's hitting 73 home runs. It's just like, it's comical. But
it was. I said the comedian Bill Burr. I love when he talks about like baseball and steroids and everything. He's talking about he loves Barry Bonds. He can't wait till a bat grows out of his chest and he just starts cranking home runs over the fence. And it is, and it's something that when you look at Barry Bonds, when you look at his career, that yes, there is going to always be that cloud over him. But I think people still understood what they were watching was greatness. Because even though we know like McGwire and Sosa and these guys were taking performance enhancing drugs, they still weren't the icon. They still weren't great like Bonds was. And and we could tell that, like I said, what we were watching was greatness. So I like Babe Ruth being at number 1, to be honest with you, even though, like I said, sometimes when they played during an era before Jackie Robinson integrated baseball, I still think that Babe Ruth is such an iconic. I said he was the first like superstar athlete in this country. And so Babe Ruth has, like, even if you don't know baseball, even if you've never, you know who Babe Ruth is. Exactly. You know, heroes never die.
That story reflection right there. I made a top 10 list because I just wanted to have fun, and me and Daniel actually had like an hour and a half long conversation about this. I had Willie Mays at number 1 because even though I feel like Babe is the most dominant, I feel like Willie was the best. So I feel like there's a difference between, we've talked about this before, like there's a difference between dominant and best. Like Wilt Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal are the most dominant players in NBA history, but I think Michael Jordan
is still the best.
Better, and I think Kareem would be better. But I had Willie 1, I had Hank Aaron 2, I had Babe Ruth 3, Barry Bonds 4, Ted Williams 5, Stan Musial 6, Josh Gibson 7, the Negro League catcher who never had a chance to play baseball. But from reading the stories and just listening to interviews from players both black and white, they say he easily could have been the greatest player.
Yeah, they said like he hit like almost 800 home runs in his career. Yeah.
And I had number 8. I had my lone pitcher Sandy Koufax. 9, Ty Cobb, and then 10. I had a list, a bunch of people. I didn't know who to put 10, so I had A-Rod, Mano, DiMaggio, Honus Wagner, Ken Griffey Jr., Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, and Pedro Martinez. So I didn't know who to put for 10. So
I would have put. Read that list again. Read the number. Who do you have for number 10 again?
Alex Rodriguez, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Honus Wagner, Ken Griffey Jr., Pedro Martinez, Roger Clemens, and Randy Johnson.
I would have put Mickey Mantle 10.
You think so?
I think I would have put Mickey Mantle 10. I have no issue with your list up to that point. I might honestly swap out DiMaggio for Josh Gibson, but that's, a little Yankee love there.
Yeah.
But no, that's a pretty solid list. I think that's a pretty solid list. I like that the overall, what's the word, like the consistency of Ted Williams being there, because it is mostly believed that Ted Williams was the greatest hitter of all time, like pure hitter.
He went to 2 wars. He went to World War II and he went to the Korean War. And if he didn't go to those wars, he probably would have had like maybe 600, 700 home runs. Who knows where he would have been? So yeah.
So I mean, I always, like I said, big Yankee fan. Yeah, exactly. Teddy, Inglourious Bastards. I love that movie. I always think of that one scene in Inglourious Bastards. But Ted Williams really is, I think, the greatest hitter of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
It is a testament to, like you were saying, to his career. He went to 2 wars and he still was able to be considered the greatest hitter of all time. So I think it's a pretty solid list. Good job, man. To round out the show today, we're going to talk a little bit about one of, the guy that kind of brought New York basketball back into the fold. The retiring of Amare Stoudemire. Stat called it a career. And Matthew, his numbers actually were pretty impressive over his career. Talk to me a little bit about standing tall and talented.
Yeah, Amare, he retired yesterday after 14 years in the NBA. He averaged 18.9 per game and 7.8 rebounds, a 6-time All-Star. I actually didn't know he was an All-NBA first team twice.
Twice? I didn't know twice. I know he did it one time. It was one of those Phoenix years, and I think it was one of the years that Steve Nash won MVP. But I knew he was it first team once. I didn't know he was twice.
And didn't he come in the league the year after or the year before LeBron?
I think it was the year before LeBron, and
because if it's the year before LeBron, then he became the first Rookie of the Year to win the award directly after high school. And in his best season in New York, he averaged 25 a game with 8.2 rebounds and was an All-NBA second team. Yeah, no, that was his first year in New York, and that's why I said I know he brought our background is him in Phoenix, but I know he brought the New York Knicks kind of back into the realm of basketball during the dark ages with Stephon Marbury, Eddie Curry and Stephon Marbury, the dark ages. Yes. Yeah, but he brought him back into the fold of the NBA. That was a big season for him. He was like the first Knicks starter in an All-Star game, I want to say, since like either Allen Houston or Latrell Sprewell. But yeah, no, Stat's career was pretty. I don't know. I think he's a borderline Hall of Famer, to be completely honest with you. But his career was very, very, very good. It's close for me because it's just the injuries. The knee injuries really were a problem, because I think a good comparison to him today in today's game would be maybe a better, more athletic version of Blake Griffin. And Blake Griffin's a beast. More athletic than Blake Griffin? Blake Griffin's a freak. Do you remember like his first few years? I think his number was 32, and then he switched to number 1. He was a star. Right
Yeah,
now,
no,
right now
I agree. I agree. His Phoenix days were arguably one of he was like I said he was like a him and Steve Nash were like a new age secondary Stockton to Malone.
Yeah.
And I think his game progressed once he got out to New York, and then like you said, the injuries hit. I was a little surprised that his numbers were as good as they were. Not taking anything away from Amare, but I was a little surprised that his numbers were as, like I said, as good as they were in the sense of he was a stud for a lot of years.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so I think that plays into the fact that he is a borderline Hall of Famer. Basketball players kind of, I feel like they're a little bit easier than maybe like baseball Hall of Fame or something like that, or football when guys are like borderline. I feel like in basketball they kind of do squeak in sometimes. But I think he's borderline just because he never won anything. And his numbers are very good. I don't know if I would call his numbers great. They are very good numbers. I wouldn't know if to call him great, but he didn't win anything. Great highlights, great player, or very good player, but I don't know if he's Hall of Fame. He's on that weird teetering position.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, he didn't win anything, but he was on multiple All NBAs. He was Rookie of the Year, and probably most importantly, he in a reading quote to his retirement statement, he said, "I came to New York in 2010 to help revitalize the franchise, and we did just that." That might be possibly his biggest, what he feels most proud about, because I was surprised to learn that he signed a one-day contract to retire with the Knicks instead of the Suns, even though his best seasons were with the Suns.
Knicks tape. No, but I do think that he really he loved New York. He loved New York. He had a excuse me. He had a very very strong ties to the city of New York, and he did. Like I said, during the Dark Ages, he brought the Knicks out of the Dark Ages, and he really attracted. I think he attracted Carmelo to New York in some way, shape, or form. Because before that, Melo wasn't coming to the Knicks. No top flight free agent was thinking of coming to the Knicks, and now look at where they are now. And I do truthfully, honestly believe that this all started with Amare Stoudemire deciding to come to New York. And like I said, that first season, he was a stud. He was, 25 points a game that first season in New York. He was an absolute flat-out stud. So yeah, I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with the fact that he did change the dynamic of playing basketball for the New York Knicks.
I mean, doing so much for the Knicks, do you think that's a plus or a negative that he brought Carmelo?
I think it's a negative. I'm negative. I'm sorry. I think it's a positive. I know you think Carmelo Anthony's the ultimate ball stopper in the NBA, even though
it's like a black hole. The ball goes in, it doesn't come back out.
You're crazy. I think James Harden's worse. I personally think.
Right now.
James Harden right now.
I did watch a few Knicks games, and Carmelo has shown to gotten better, especially with Porzingis around. So I'll ease up on him a bit.
Nah, but the black hole is definitely James Harden for me. But I don't know. I think he did really revitalize a franchise that the NBA needs to have. The NBA is better, and I'm not just saying this as a Knicks fan. It is I think a fact. The NBA is just better when the Knicks are good. They don't got to be winning titles, but when you look
just
at
competitive and at least like probably in the playoffs.
New York is the biggest city in the world. So when you have the basketball team from the biggest city in the world, being competitive and being able to have that hype and insanity and Melo coming over and the playoff games in the Garden and Amon Shepard's put back dunk against
when the Garden was eaten.
Exactly, when the Garden was eaten, and that's how it. And even going back to the '90s with Patrick Ewing, or early 2000, Allen Houston, Charles Sprewell, even back in the '70s when they were winning titles with Walt Clyde Frazier, Earl of Pearl Monroe, Dave DeBusschere. Obviously, we see Willis coming out of the tunnel, Willis Reed. Like the NBA is just better when the Knicks are good, and I think the second or third generation, or whatever you want to call it, for the Knicks being good started with Amare Stoudemire. That's all the show we have for you guys today. Again, like I said, I was a little under the weather. I still feel, kind of crappy. But Matthew, bolstered and held the show down today. Good job.
I think this was a good show. I think.
I think it was good too. I said we've been having a lot of really good shows. I said my energy level on Friday will hopefully be back, and believe me, if it is, I'm going to wow out, as the kids like to say. Let's
just hope it's not.
But what you guys can do for us, continue to like, subscribe, and comment. Subscription button is going to be in the description below. Also, continue to donate to our GoFundMe page. We really appreciate all the love and support. that we get around here, 15 rounds of Flambé. Our channel is going to continue to grow. We're going to add new content. We're going to add top 10, like I said before, top 10 videos. We're going to add more overall content into the world of sports, and so you kind of get our feel outside of just the show we love to do. But again, that's all the show we have for you guys. Always a blessing. We will see you on Friday. Have a good day, everyone. And I will try and feel better.